Francisco Goya, the man who painted nightmares. The Spanish artist created some of the most terrifying images in art history. But why? Why did Goya, court painter to the Spanish crown, obsess over witches, demons, and grotesque horrors? Today, we unravel the dark world of Goya's witch paintings. One of Goya's most famous witch paintings is The Witch's Sabbath. There are actually two versions, the first from 1789 and a darker, more terrifying one from 1823. Both depict a gathering of witches surrounding the great he-goat, a symbol of the devil. The witches appear twisted, grotesque, and inhumane, reinforcing the idea that witchcraft is something monstrous. The 1789 version was commissioned for a light-hearted anti-witchcraft series. The witches look ridiculous, satirical even. The 1823 version is terrifying. Painted in Goya's late years, darkness dominates, and the figures look lifeless. It's no longer a joke, it's a nightmare. The goat, is it Satan, or just how people imagined witches gathered? Here Goya captured the fear of witchcraft rather than the witches themselves. Three spectral figures float in midair, carrying a terrified man. His legs dangle helpless. Below, two other men cower, covering their faces in horror. What's happening here? The floating figures are not just witches. They might represent fear itself. The blindfolded victim is the powerless masses, unable to fight superstition. The people below, they refuse to look, just like people ignored the horrors of the Inquisition. This is the last thing you want to see when you wake up in the middle of the night. Sleep paralysis demons, but make them 18th century Spanish. Goya didn't just paint witches, he painted the fear of being bewitched. The bewitched man shows a terrified man on the ground, confronted by a bizarre goat-headed monster. The painting plays into the paranoia of the time, the belief that witches could curse and control you. These paintings show mass hysteria. People were terrified of curses, and Goya mocked this fear. The witches look ridiculous, but also eerie. It's a blend of satire and horror. Imagine blaming all your problems on witches. Oh, you lost your job. Must be witchcraft. Your crops failed. Definitely witches. Your wife left you. No, that's one just you, man. By the 1820s, Goya had seen too much. War, corruption, the Spanish Inquisition. He retreated to a house outside Madrid and covered its walls in nightmares. Among them, the second version of The Witch's Sabbath. This time, it's pure horror. There's no humor left, no satire. The witches are dead-eyed. The great he-goat looms in the darkness. If his earlier paintings mocked superstition, this one embraces it. It's as if Goya finally believed in the darkness he once ridiculed. The black paintings show Goya's complete disillusionment with Spain. The witches here don't look like people anymore. They look like souls sucked dry by fear and power. Final interpretation, Goya's witches are about human evil, not magic. So what did Goya teach us? That fear is powerful, that belief can be dangerous, and that sometimes the scariest things are not witches, they're people. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more deep dives into art history.